So, chapter 10 of the reading talked about recruitment for your elementary orchestras, and it talked about a lot of different techniques for recruiting students. And a lot of those techniques I actually experienced in high school, or in like elementary school and high school, I guess. Um, so, so one of the techniques that I used was in in fourth grade, they gave us a list of all of the different instruments that you could try or you could like play in fifth grade. And so we would write down our top three choices out of band and orchestra. So whichever one we wanted really. Um, and then this was like towards the end of the school year, if I'm remembering correctly. We would go into the cafeteria with everyone who wanted to play an instrument, um, which I think was just for string players. And we did this audio test where they would play high pitches and low pitches, just like random notes. And we would circle, we had this little sheet of paper, and we would circle which notes we liked the best. So, like, either the high pitches or the lower pitches. Um, and I wrote violin down, I'm pretty sure, as my first pick because I didn't know what a viola was. And they, my orchestra teacher at the time, Mrs. Verheyen, came up to me and she was like, "You circled a lot of low pitches, but you put violin as your top choice. Like, do you want to try the viola?" And I was like, "Sure." And I remember we had a lesson after that, like a one-on-one meeting, like a quick one, and she kind of showed me the instrument and like demonstrated to me like what it sounded like. So it was really cool, and I would have never thought of that technique if I didn't do it in elementary school. There were also um, performances that the high schoolers would give to the elementary students. So it would be a concert in the middle of the day, and it'd be like a field trip for the elementary kids to come to the high school and watch them perform. And the reading talks about how when you're recruiting and you're showing elementary students like orchestras or bands, you want to play like memorable music, something that would be from like a movie or a TV show or like popular film music to capture their attention. Because if you play like adagio for strings for them, they won't really be as moved as if they heard like Frozen. Um, yeah. Um, Also, another technique was high schoolers would go to the elementary school for like that recruiting period. So one person of each instrument, and they would play a little bit for like the group of students who were trying to decide what instrument they wanted to play, just to have more of an and like individual like explanation for each instrument instead of showing them a full orchestra. Um, there's a couple reasons why students want to pursue music or why their parents want them to pursue music. A lot of the time, their siblings, their older siblings, would play an instrument. Like in my high school, or like my whole school career where I went to high school and middle school, basically everyone who was in orchestra or band also had a sibling who was in orchestra or band. So it was really, really common for that to happen. So that could be a reason why a student starts. Um, Parents also want their students to be well rounded. So pursuing music it would look good on their college application, and just like make them a more well rounded person in general. Um, yeah, and also it's important when students are choosing instruments not to let them kind of give in to peer pressure about what their friends are doing, because maybe one group of friends all want to play cello, um, but encouraging like that individual individuality individuality um, and not conforming to like gender stereotypes. So if um, like if a boy wants to play the flute but he thinks like it's only for girls, because that's like the common misconception that only girls play flute. um, just reassuring them that it's like there's no gender for a certain instrument. um, Also, retention rates. The retention rate for children in orchestras going from like elementary to high school, it's 73%. So if you had a group of 100 students in the fourth grade, then the next year would go down to 73, etc. Um, to keep that retention rate high, um, you can support students. So making sure that their instrument works properly, they have a good environment to learn, um, and making sure like the orchestra is a safe spot for them. Doing venues and performing with your group, outside of just the classroom or just the performance that you have planned, and recognizing when they succeed in orchestra and um, complimenting them when they do well. So